For years, there have been debates around why HR hasn't been able to take a seat at the table. However, as the world of work gets more disrupted and the talent market becomes employee centric, CHROs and their teams are leading boardroom meetings as work and people become the CEO's top agenda. In this evolving role of HR, how do you see the role of L&D becoming imperative and how their goals have evolved from just people goals to business goals? What are your thoughts on this, Pasatyo?
Yeah, first of all, I think nowadays learning and development is already moving ahead. It's not just only that we give some like capital knowledge, but L&D actually is on the move from the learning paradigm to the business paradigm. Means that if you recall back here, maybe 5 or 10 years ago, the learning paradigm is talking about knowledge deficits, right? But today, as a business paradigm, it was moved to performance and business problem, right? And the second, we believe that we have goal in learning. But today, it's more focused not just only goals of learning, but of course, in terms of performance and business goals. And about formal learning, I mean, we have a face-to-face learning or dedicated like a formal learning. But today, it's organization learning, including informal and even social learning or metaverse in learning. And the other thing is learning is separate from work. The time we believe that we go to the class and outside of the business, but today we are design learning as embedded in our work. I mean, like assignment, doing some project or Scrum even, right? And we believe in the past years ago, we still believe there are a lot of learning experts. But today, we also believe that the learning expert is actually moving, like I call it, become a business model subject, a master expert, which is aligned with the business. And the expert itself actually is talking about 70, 20, and 10, which is, it is true that 30% actually is only on the capital knowledge development, but 70% is doing on their project, like a Scrum or hackathons, yeah, maybe. Yeah. And then the last one, we believe that we still did measuring learning outcome that time. Yeah. But today, measuring business outcome. Yeah. So if I summarize, there are 7 moving learning today on. The first is performance and business problem. Yeah. The second one is performance and business goals. The third one is organization learning. The fourth one is always embedded in the workplace. And then the fifth one is a business model aligned with the business perspective and business vision. The sixth one is 70% is about project management in the learning. And the 7 is measuring business outcome is more important rather than learning outcomes.
Exactly. Thanks, Pasatyo. There were some great insights. I think I do believe that learning, as you said earlier, used to be about gaining more knowledge, but today it is a business imperative, as you said. If you want business outcomes, you have to work on how you create that learning strategy, that skilling strategy, and prepare your workforce for the business, for the future of business, for the future of the workplace. So that's going to be very, very important going forward. So that's a great thought there. Thank you so much for sharing that. Also, Pasatyo, with changing ways of work and business, each function has evolved and changed itself to keep up with the future of work. Especially in the past few years, we've seen how each function has come up and reinvented themselves. How do you think the current L&D functions can reinvent themselves to win this war for talent and also enable business to thrive in the future?
I think to use technology, I mean, optimize the technology as enabler. It is actually ensure the inclusive learning, which is we must ensure well implement is very essential. Inclusive learning recognize all student, I mean student entitlement, I mean the employee entitlement, to learning experience that respect diversity, enable participation, removing all barriers, and anticipates and consider a variety of learning needs and preference, like industrial pillar. In our company, we have 250 competency with different competency and learning. We must use technology as enabler. Technology is being used to help people get better learning experience through hyper-personalization and just-in-time learning. A human-centric learning experience that we call LXP, or Learning Experience Platform. I think we must use, because this is very important and enrich our capability to learn new things, to learn best practice around the world within 3-5 seconds.
True, true. So so you do believe that technology would be really making a lot of inroads into how L&D teams also equip themselves for the future and make it more hyper personalized for their own teams as well, while they're creating learning strategy for the entire organization. For their own teams also, technology and hyper personalization will play a key role.
Yeah.
All right, great thoughts there. Thank you so much. Also, Pasatyo, how are you making sure that your L&D team is equipped with the latest trends, knowledge, and skills to meet business and talent needs? Are there any specialized programs or initiatives that you have brought in place, especially for your L&D team?
I believe in every organization having some culture, whereas in our organization also develop. I mean, we call it in between the past previous culture with the tech culture is more important. But today, organization already changed. Holacracy is not pyramid anymore, agility and everything there. So organizations are now leveraging learning experience platform, which is called LXP, as I said before, to get real-time data on the learning behaviors, preference, and need they can use to tailor better learning experience. L&D team and all employee can be learning from various university. Today we can collect resources from global university, around 800,000 global best university like Cornell, MIT, Harvard, maybe New York University and others, or even CFA Institute. I mean, last time we are struggling to collect this, to prove ourselves, to deliver the business performance through learning. But today, they can take any STEM certification, for example. STEM is mandate for business today, right? Science, technology, engineering, and math. So this is relevant to the business and its challenges. LXP also allow learner to receive curate content, curate content from many massive operation online course, right? Organizations today are increasing, looking to provide curate content to their learners. The idea to have learning accessible to the entire organization actually is LXP must go on to grow further and add many more learner-friendly features in the years to come.
Yes, I totally agree with you. I think our LXP platforms have to evolve and make learning happen in the flow of work, and how personalized it could be according to the learner's needs and also the needs of the organization as to what skills do they require for the future of their business. But Pasatyo, can you also tell me a little bit more about, do you have any specific programs for your own L&D teams or your own HR teams in terms of how are they upskilling themselves?
As a leader, I also become what you call like a models, right?
Yes.
So if you want to influence your people, then you have to be a model. I myself actively took certification and encourage all the team to do the same, right? The role model is still working to drive all the workforce to upskilling or reskilling and new skilling. For example, like myself, I'm HR guys, which is known like a social science, whatever, right? But today I learned about digital. I also learned about technology, how to use design model and technology in technology. To be able to do that, we must encourage ourselves to change ourselves. And leaders, of course, endorse digital learning, what I call like a change the culture in the organization. I mean, the way to do that, again, technology must be using as an enabler, like LMS. Past year we used that, but now still not enough about LMS. LXP, I think, is good to have right today on, because there are some connection tools in the engine of LXP. They have a platform with a catalog, I think, about 200,000 plus articles. You can add more and more. And also using AI on the LXP become, I will recommend which is the web crawler or chatbot, maybe social and peer-based learning and leaderboard and gamification, right? So my employee also happy, using gamification.
Yes, it is.
It's not like a rocket science, right?
No.
They get certificate and they will get a couple, for example, like a coffee or snacks. They're happy and maybe travel to Bali, Bali, if you know Bali,
Yeah.
Bali Island.
Beautiful, yes.
Right.
Great. So these are some great initiatives that you shared with us, Pak Satya. I think it's about, as you said, leaders have to become the role models, even when it comes to learning. So if leaders, portray themselves and they showcase how they are learning and upskilling themselves, and you said how it is important for leaders to learn digital more, learn technology more, upskill themselves. I think that's going to be a great example for the entire workforce to follow when they see how their leaders are also investing in their own learning. And as you said, learning has to be made very interesting and fun also at the same time. While you personalize it, you also create some fun moments for your people that encourages them to, have more of those learning moments for themselves. So great thoughts. Thanks for sharing that, Pak Satya. Pak Satya, my final question to you as a CHRO or L&D leader is, what has been your own personal learning on approaching skilling and learning for the workforce? How can a learning leader and teams successfully drive skilling programs?
I think it's about organization culture. If your organization is moving so fast and organization need people with a different kind of competencies, right? Then all the HR team, especially on L&D, must be responsible to take this opportunity to change everything that we have, and then develop the system itself to be able to assist the organization moving forward. For example, we just acquired some company, we call it like petrochemical and also cryptocurrency, right? Then we think, hey, what kind of this business actually, right? Because we must learn everything within maybe a weeks. But I think with use technology can be more easier to us to learn new something, right? Then the culture itself must embed it there. So all the BOD, all the stakeholder must be go together as make a decision for their culture and business, and encourage everybody in the nature of the employee journey from hiring to retiring. For example, if you promote people, then the policy must be there. You must have a good policy for those want to increase their level or are getting promoted. If they have to certify something new outside of their domain. So things like that can be more challenging for every employee. They can be, I call it super job, right? So everybody can do another job rather than doing their domain itself. Yeah.
Great. I totally agree. I think, Pak Satya, you very, very nicely put it through that it's about creating that culture of learning, that culture of continuous learning, and how people are encouraged to upskill themselves and become better versions of themselves each day. The organization can create that culture, leaders can work on that culture. And when you bring the right learning programs on board, the right skilling programs on board, I think the whole problem itself gets solved, where you have a workforce that is not just prepared for the today, but also prepared for the future. So on that note, Pak Satya, thank you so much for these great insights.